really quickly look at momentum. And for the techno geeks get on top of me, I was a scholar athlete. I didn't just play football and just play basketball. Okay, I did pay attention in class. My mom was a teacher, so good grades were required. I'm gonna be playing with the formula a little bit here. If you look at the formula momentum, P equals mv, m times v. For those of you that don't know what mv stands for, mass times velocity. Mass is how much, and velocity is how fast. For our business, I'm going to say that the how much is going to be the amount of leads you have, the how fast or how many leads do you have, and then how fast is your velocity. So somebody who gets 30 leads and then takes all month to call them, you have how many? 30, velocity 30 days. That's a different momentum. That's momentum, but it's a different momentum than somebody who has 30 leads and calls them in a week. That's a different momentum from somebody who has 30 leads and calls them in one day. That amount of momentum is going to change what your business looks like. Now, the graph that I'm showing right now is so that you can see that making $100,000 inside this industry is irrelevant for the leads, the CRM, the bot, even so to some extent the scripting and all those type of things. And I'm a trainer, so I believe in all of that. Am I saying that you should buy crap leads? No. Am I saying you shouldn't have a CRM? Absolutely not. Am I saying that you should? No. All those things can increase momentum, yes. But without that, you still can be extraordinarily successful. Here's how. Now, I know you're looking at it and say, well, it says 37.8. I know what it says. And I'm going to say most of you don't even get to that point because you're probably in this category. On a weekly basis, only running, only dialing 250 times for 5 days because you're always going to take the weekends off because darn it, I earned it. And we're going into this right here. The stuff in red is the stuff you cannot control. Influence maybe a little bit, but you cannot control it. We're going to only talk about the stuff we can control. So I'm going with a 1% pickup rate. So all of this stuff that you talk about, this 1% is going to cover the people that hang up. Out of every batch of leads you get, there's a certain amount of people that just never answer the phone, that they hang up on you when you answer the phone. When you pick it up, they tell you to go fly. They convince you, as you're talking to them, they're too sick to qualify for anything. Maybe you don't do GI or Direct Express like I do. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm saying for the sake of this example, I'm not going to count it because we get paid differently on that anyway. So you take all that out. On top of that, you allow them to convince you. That's what this section is for right there. They convince you that they didn't fill it out. They're too sick to talk to you right now because they're in the hospital waiting on the doctor, or they're in the waiting room waiting on their doctor, or they're at the hospital right now. They don't have time to talk to you because they're in the back planting flowers or driving down the road to something, whatever the case is. They don't have any money anyway. So whatever all of your excuses are, I don't believe any of them, but I'm going to just grant you those premises so that we can get through this to show you how easy this is. Granting you all of that, you allow 80% of the people that pick up the phone. Now remember, we're only talking about 1%, 1 out of every 100 even pick up the phone and allow you to talk. Out of that, you let 80% of those people off the hook for whatever reasons that there are. That means you're talking to 2.5 people, 2 to 3 people a week. You're only closing 25%. I think this should be double, but you're only closing 25% anyway, which is only giving you an app. Now, you can probably keep that. This is going to be net because eventually it's going to start having rescission in there. You can probably keep 1 app a week because you got plenty of time to massage it after the fact, follow up with them, call them every day. I mean, you're only writing 1, so it's not that hard to keep it. And that's why you're not making 20 grand a year. Now, if you just up your activity, if we're going to create the velocity, the how much, not the velocity, the mass, how many dials are you going to do over what period of time? Now all we did is up the amount of people that we have an opportunity to talk to, and your income doubled just by increasing your activity. That's something you can control. I can control how much of this I do every single day. Then we start moving through it. Well, what else can we control that we can move? Well, let's start with I'm going to just go with stuff that I would consider easy and working your way up. So the first thing you can do, in my opinion, is work on this right here. Instead of selling on being transactional and selling on price because you believe there's a certain amount that everybody can buy and that's it. You don't understand that people in America purchase what they want, not what they need. And when you create a need for these people, it's a bill. And I'm not saying over, again, you're always going to go to the exception and say, well, so the guy who's only making $900, you want me to show him $150? No, stop it. That's one of the reasons probably why you can't get past these things, because you can't listen to the basics. We're talking about how we present to the vast majority of to get the vast majority of the people that are out there, not the exceptions to the rule. There's always going to be an exception. However, if you spend enough time with people and you get to know that you listen to them, and more importantly, you ask the right questions that get them talking about the beneficiary. If you have a principled process, we call that the stakes, and the stakes have names. Shout out to Chris Ball. The stakes have names, and therefore you need to spend time getting to know that name and why that relationship is so tight. If you do that, this becomes a want on their part. It is a need, but it's a verbalized, and now it's a want that they want to have. They want to have this policy, and they want to have it with you. If you do that, the value will go up. The amount of money they're going to spend is going to go up. I'll still be conservative. Our agency goes over 1,000. We're about 1,050 as an average, but we'll say 950. Again, now your income has gone up. Same activities, but you're increasing the amount that you can make on every single call. What's the next thing that we can affect? We should be able to affect this part right here. Now, as of right now, when you're talking to somebody and you talk to 4 people, you're only getting 1. Talk to 4 people, you're only getting 1. You're talking to 4 people, you get 1. Talk to 4 people, you get 1. My argument's going to be, if you're spending time in this arena here so that you can get a higher premium level because you're actually talking to the person, you're not being transactional, you're actually listening, you're using tactical empathy, then this should grow as well. The closing ratio should naturally go up because you're actually interacting with people instead of treating them like a piece of meat. And they'll respect that and they respond to that. So now we're not going to make this crazy. Just going to go from same 4 where you're getting 1, 4, 1. But now you're just going to pick up 1 extra one. That's it. So now pick up 3. That's it. Not a huge, you don't have to start closing 4 out of 8, which would be in my world, a perfect world, but at least that would be the minimum. But you just increase it by just 1 more out of 8. That's 12.5%. So I'm going to give you, I'm just going to give you the 12. All right. I'm not going to give you the half. But if this number goes to 37, you're almost $1,500 a week now. Not a bad gig working from home. Not a bad gig working from home. What else can we work on? Okay, we've worked on our production. We've worked on how we do our close and our presentation. So how about we work on the opening? This part here is the opening. This means people are pushing you around. You're not taking control of the situation. If 80% of the people out of 10, 80% of the people tell you where they're going to go, not the other way around. Again, let's not go for earth-shattering. Let's just heighten our skill level. You get a little extra training. You get a little more authoritative on the opening part. You get control earlier on, and you keep more people on the phone. Just 1. Just 1. Out of 10, instead of letting 8 off the hook, you let 7. We're still failing, okay? We're letting 70% of the people tell us what to do and not going through it. But if this number right here just goes to 70, we're over $100,000. You're at 10 grand a month consistently, right there. Still allowing, you're still going to do your presentations, you're still closing the same ratio, going to lose one. It's just the way it's going to be. Still selling at a high enough value that you can do this. And you say, Tony, I want to make more money. That's still not enough for me. Granted, I got 0 problem with that. What's another thing that we can do? Well, I just can't get past this average. This is about what I can do. I'm maxing out there. I really can't close any more than that. Okay. Well, there's only one number left that you have control over. We're going to get the second one here, but there's one that you have control over, and that's this right there. So you start working Saturdays. Now, each day of the week is what, 14%? 14, 15%. Less than 15, more than 14. So you add 14% more effort to get 20-some percent. I guess 14, 120, 12. Yeah. Like a 20% jump in income. Now, if you keep doing this consistently, I don't know where you are, but within our organization, you only got to produce 3 months in a row and then you promote yourself. So if you keep doing this type of volume on a consistent basis, what's that come out to? You're going to end up probably this number. I don't even know what it is, to be honest with you. I'd have to do the math here for a second. But we'll just jump it up. And maybe some of you already have this contract, which if you do, then my question to you is, how come you're not making $200,000? This is $200,000 worth of production on leads that only pick up 1 out of 100. I am so tired of hearing everybody. I see the lead vendors doing it, and I have some that are friends. Do not get mad at me at this. But they're like, oh, these leads this, these leads this, these leads this. Okay, great. And there are better leads than others. And that's for when you get to this point and you're like, hey, I want to increase the amount. I want to increase the amount of people I talk to and all that stuff. Absolutely. But here's the real deal. Activity trumps that. Activity takes over that point, because if you just simply make $1,000 a day, 6 days a week with a 1% pickup rate, and out of those you let 70% of them off the hook, and of the ones you keep on the hook, you don't even close 50% of them. Which, if you did, let's just say you upped your ante again. I'll stay below 50 for those people who aren't believers. Now you're over 220. You're over a quarter, almost to a quarter of a million. 1% pickup, 70% of the people control you instead of you controlling them. But you have such massive activity, you still have a gigantic paycheck. You earn another promotion. You decide, I want my weekends back. Ta-da. Now this will get crazy if I just bump that up by 1. Because this isn't going to double. It's going to more than double. It's going to get nuts and the numbers won't match. It's feasible. 2 out of 100 answer. You let 70% of them off the hook. And you still make almost $400,000 a year. This industry will set you free, but you cannot act like you have some kind of control over it. This is very, 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 very simple. You are a rocket ship taking off, or in my days when I was young, we had merry-go-rounds before everybody got, well, never mind. We had merry-go-rounds. It required a whole lot of momentum to get the thing moving. And once it was moving, you could swing off of it, play off it, and every now and then you just have to jump off and pedal a couple more times and get back on. A rocket ship, same thing. You put all of your eggs into the basket. You got your own rocket. You Inc. Here we go. I've got leads. I got my CRM. I got my stuff and everything else. I've spent my money. And you light that fuse. The rocket takes off. I think I've read somewhere like 90% of the fuel is used just getting off the ground and getting into the air. Now, you cannot stop accelerating until you're outside the stratosphere, you're into space, and then you just use the thrusters to get yourself back on track where you want to go, because you're kind of floating. But even then, if you ran out of gas, if you used all of your gas to get to space and you've arrived, over the course of time, gravity's going to pull you back down. We know all the satellites fall back to Earth sooner or later. Some take longer, but sooner or later they're going to fall back. So you still have to have some kind of momentum at all times. It's just less based on where you are. But you're this rocket ship, you're taking off, and it's 3 weeks in, and you decide, I'm taking a week off for vacation. I'll just hold right here and I'll come back. And you think you come back in 3 weeks and you're like, okay, boom, turn the boosters back on, you take off again. That does not happen. You stop at 3 weeks, you stop. Your rocket, you stop pushing the thrusters, and you go away for a week for vacation. When you come back, your rocket's on the ground. And now you're starting over with less than when you did the first time. Most of y'all front load everything, and you don't plan on week 2 and 3 and 4 for leads. You're like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to spend my last $1,500 and then I'm going to reinvest, which is a great plan. It is a great plan if you work it. For those of us who go 2 or 3 weeks and decide to take a week off, that plan doesn't work because now you don't have that. You went on vacation. You went and spent the money. Now you're coming back. Your rocket's on the ground. You set everything back up and start to get started. You don't have any gas to get off the ground. You're like lighting it. Start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. Oh, you get a couple leads. Oh, I got a few bucks. Got a couple leads. Got off the ground again. Now I still don't have enough energy to keep going. That's the reinvestment. More leads, more leads, more leads. We're getting into how much and how fast. How fast are you going to get to, and this is where this whole thing comes into here, and this is going to be another video, but it's how fast are you going to get to 125-ish presentations. Until you've gotten that under your belt, you don't have enough data to talk to your upline, your manager, to yourself about what you think you're doing. You've got to do 125 presentations and figure out what's right and wrong. So you've heard everything, gone through it. Then you can take a step back and say, okay, now I want to change leads here. I want to do this, I want to do that. But you should have a system that you're getting into. You should have a system that you are getting into that your upline can train you on to follow this in order to be successful. If you don't have that, I would highly suggest looking for another above you, whoever that is. Not because you're beneath, just have an upline, another mentor, another person that's going to teach you how to do that. Because if you will just commit, if you just start here, and it really is irrelevant. It doesn't matter if you say, I'm going to start with, I'm going to make 50 dials a day, but I'm going to do it consistently. Now I did 250 here, but it doesn't make any difference. Commit this week to starting your momentum. I'm going to do 50 dials every day. And that's the only time I can check off the box. Now, you may do more one day. That doesn't mean you get to take the next day off. Say, oh, I did 100 on Monday. It's that old adage of 5 apples on Friday is not the same as an apple a day. Everything has to be consistent. You have to be consistently moving. You can't start, then stop, then start, then stop, then start, then stop. You've got to keep going. Start, and keep fueling and keep fueling, keep fueling. You commit to that. And then the next week, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to do 55. I don't know what your number will be. Maybe you'll say, okay, I can do 50 easy. I'm going to do 100. Okay, I can do 100 easy, and I'm going to do 2. And then you're going to get to the point you're going to have to start pushing yourself to get to the 3s, the 4s, the 5s, the 6, into the 1,000 range. That's impossible. It is if you only work 4 hours a day. I'll grant you that. If you say it's not going to be, I'm committed to figuring out how to make 6 figures in this industry, I'm committed to doing 12-hour days for the next 90 days. And I may be committed to working 6 days a week because I want to set my family free, because I want to set myself free, because I want to build something for my kids. I want to build something. Get the momentum working in your favor. Once you do that, the world changes. This business changes. The consistency that you will see, the continuity you will see, all because you got momentum working on your side. Try it. Let me know.